Hello and welcome to JK It's Not About You. I'm Jen Rouse.
And I'm Kelly Mirko, and we're your hosts. We're new empty nesters, and we're here to talk about what the next chapter looks like.
For so long, we were taxi drivers,
Domestic engineers, chefs,
tutors, cheerleaders,
and everything else that goes along with being a parent.
No days off, no paid vacation, and very limited time to pursue our own passions. It just wasn't about us.
It really wasn't. Join us on this new endeavor as we find passions in all things empty nesting. The little birdies have flown the coop and they're living their best lives, and now it's our turn. We're sweating through our 50s trying to figure it all out.
From resetting on marriage, navigating divorce, dating at 50, we're here to reclaim our calendars, our bodies, and our newly found identities in this confusing yet exciting new phase of life.
So grab your glass of wine or beverage of choice, your cozy sweats, and join us as we unpack all things real in our 50s.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
JK, it's not about you.
Again,
Podcast about everything in your 50s.
everything in your 50s. Just whip it on by.
We just keep on taping
Gets
these 'cause
more
these
and more
subjects are
fun.
so fun. Today's subject's not so fun, though.
I agree.
And it's
But something that really, really needs to be discussed and talked about.
okay, so I think today what I'd really like to talk about is aging parents.
I think that's a really great subject to talk about. Needs to be discussed.
I think that it is such an important subject and you don't really think about it until it's happening. It's kind of like the empty nesting thing,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
Until it like kind of gets closer, you don't really.
Until it happens to you, you think you're going to be fine, or you need to prepare. And when you are aging, you need to prepare for that as well. I
It's
think
crazy to me that and how fast it seems to go.
it seems that way recently, for
For
sure.
you, definitely. Like
This year's been a big year for me.
yeah,
But
you lost
but
two
yeah,
people.
but I just think that a plan in place is very important.
And I think that like how we learned, I mean, it's trial and error, kind of how we go. And you're again ahead of me in this one. You lost your mom.
I did.
And a
earlier
few
this
days
year.
ago, you lost your grandma, who I can't even believe you have a grandma.
I know.
I lost my grandma's a long time ago.
I very
So she was
fortunate.
a miraculous 98,
Oh, 90, almost 99 next month.
almost 99
Yeah.
years old. Like,
Most amazing woman.
imagine what
ever.
she's seen.
Everything.
It's pretty great.
Yes.
So this episode's dedicated to her.
Yeah, Grandma.
Grandma, are you flying around? Like,
She's playing tennis right now. She's
I bet
busy.
she is. She's happy. A lot of people up there to talk to.
They were waiting for her. Yeah.
Yeah,
Push those gates right open.
so great.
Yeah.
I'm sad for you though, because it's still hard because we're still here without them. But yeah, I think like it makes you stop, think, okay, we don't want to like put this burden on our kids.
No,
I'm certainly like
absolutely not.
going through a little of it with my parents splitting up after 50 years and my mom being displaced and having to find her a new place to live and like get her situated, and then watching her health kind of go up and down
Yes.
has been rough. And then so I know like you anticipate what's next, but nothing prepares you.
Nothing. Nothing. But you can prepare yourself if you really like step back and think about it and do a little research and see what's out there. There's like so many tools that can help guide you through, how to plan for that next phase, even after this phase,
And I think it's so important to talk about because I don't think like it's as far as you and I, we didn't know about this.
No. Another thing you're not educated on in school, and I think also, I don't think like a lot of, long-term care or 401ks, that wasn't even like around in 1926 when my grandma was,
Right. Well, she
getting
lived through,
started.
like,
I mean,
every
not to
war.
say that she, she was a very educated woman, but there's just some things that you're just not taught.
Yeah, and people get, life insurance for, covering their estate costs or their funeral costs or whatever, but you don't think about the aging part of it.
Mm-mm.
Like, and now they offer such great things out.
And so
There's
they're
so
just
many things
so
out there.
expensive. So
Yeah.
if you wait too long or don't have a plan, your options are just very limited. And
Yeah.
it's sad.
Yeah.
So we would love to just talk more about what we've, I guess what we've been through,
Yeah.
and I guess maybe more of what plan I wish,
Was in place.
yeah.
Well, we kind of got
Not
her.
really with my grandma so much. I think she was
Well,
pretty
she lived on her
stubborn.
own.
She lived on her own till the
That's
end.
very
I mean,
rare, though.
my aunt was there at the end, like 3 weeks out of the month, but she drove until she was 94.
That's crazy.
She did. We had to take her driver's license away,
Yeah,
literally.
that's when you kind of like when you lose your independence and you're, you know,
Yes, and we were fortunate that my aunt was
could come.
prepared to come and be here for a big chunk of the month,
Yeah.
every month.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't have that.
I know. And that's hard. Like, where do we put them? A lot of like
Oh,
your mom was in a special facility because she had MS, right? Like,
well, she lived. My mom was never happy, so it didn't matter where we had her. But I tried. My brother and I tried to keep her in like home people that converted their homes into like more private facilities. So like a 4-bedroom house, and so they would have four
right,
private patients. And we tried to do that for a while. Um, she was miserable there, so she did go to a couple like more facility assisted living
places.
situations.
Uh-huh.
What she was happy everywhere until she wasn't, and then so she was in and out of all those things. But it most of it really depends on cost for most people, to be
And
honest
it's
with you.
so expensive.
And it's so expensive.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, it's a challenging subject, and
But it's something that you gotta like kind of look into because I
yeah,
definitely like the fact that we did got our stuff together, after we learned kind of what we're learning the hard way.
right.
We don't want our kids to be forced to figure it out. What are we going to do with mom?
Yeah. Well,
You
I think
know?
that our kids are educated, and they
Yeah.
know what we've done and what we've been doing the last, year and
Yeah.
a half or whatever. Like I think that they're more aware than we were. I mean, come
No,
on.
I was not
I
prepared to
mean,
see like,
I didn't even like understand like life insurance. Like I never even thought about it. Like our kids think, they've heard us talk about it a million times.
right.
So I think that we have a leg up on that.
Yeah. And
Um,
being prepared and having, a will and having everything designated and what your wishes are. And I mean, that was hard to do, but you do it. And because you don't want to have like the guessing, like, okay, well, what do you really want?
yes.
And when your parents get old, it's a hard conversation to have. You don't want to have that conversation.
No.
So I'm glad we're doing it now, kind of thing.
And I also think that at our age, in a certain age range, that you are making a better decision, a more
Yeah.
logical decision. I think sometimes when you get older and try to make those decisions, you're not firing on all cylinders.
You're not firing else. Sometimes I feel like that right now.
I do too. So I was trying to choose my words wisely, but that's just what came out.
No offense taken.
Okay. I mean,
You know the menopause thing.
yeah,
You sleep one day, you don't for 3.
I know.
So it is what it is. But I just wanted to talk to you. I mean, you're like ahead of me in this, and I'm definitely like feeling the anxiety of watching our parents get older and what's going to happen and how that's going to feel and the emotional part of it. And like, you know, we're still kids. Funny enough, we're in our
I know.
50s, but we're still like kids to these parents and we still want to be the kid. Like for me, I'm like, I'm still your daughter, I'm still your kid. How does it feel emotionally to know like you know, you're going to be on your own and that's it. You're not, you know,
Oh, I know. I know. I mean, I've lost both of my parents and now my grandma, who is, everything to me, more than a mom. And um, I think uh, if you have a relationship, if you have the kind of relationship, if you are going to be that caregiver, if you are going to have some sort of role, little or significant, that discussion just needs to happen. It's not going to ever get any easier.
yeah,
And the goal of that conversation is to learn what someone's wishes are. You want to, respect that, and you want to talk through things that, might work and that, might not, that are realistic and that aren't. And I
yeah.
think that you don't want to wait too late for that, because you never know what could happen, right? Not everyone lives to be 99 or
That
98.
is seriously like
Like,
a phenomenal thing.
so,
Yeah.
um,
And really live.
and
Like
live.
she was getting her
She
hair
knit her
done, you
last
know.
sweater. She sends her sweaters to a lady in the Bay Area. So she does the arms and she
And
does
then
the
they put it
front, and
together.
they put it
That's
together.
amazing.
And we're still waiting for her last sweater. She sent it recently before
Okay.
she went to the hospital. So, I mean, she was on her Kindle in the hospital. She was
Yeah.
reading the New York Times in the hospital. I mean, like, she
I'm
really,
glad that she
really,
didn't lose her senses,
she
you know,
didn't.
because I think that would be the hardest.
Yeah, she didn't.
Watching your parent not recognize you, not know you.
The
Like
dementia.
some of our friends have had
Yeah,
parents like that, and
yeah.
that's hard.
My dad.
Your dad had that. See, you've been through it, like you know. And letting go. I think another big piece is like letting go of, like with your mom. You guys weren't close,
Mm-mm. No.
so letting go of someone that you never had resolution with, that you never had, that piece. Like, how do you feel about that? Like, what advice can you lend there?
Well, I think that, I think that's a to each its own person, because I think it's like who you are inside. And um, I kind of dealt with that situation internally, long ago. I mean, I'm sure I am, working in therapy, like, about,
Therapy's the best, man.
I know, about, getting some things from out of that rug, that I know that I need to work on with her. But for the most part, I left the house at such a young age. I've had a very long time to process, which I have a lot. And it was a different situation than my grandma. It was easier to close that chapter
With your
with my,
mom.
mhm.
Your grandma's harder. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want it to close,
Yeah.
So yeah,
I get it. Yeah, it's gonna be a weird thing,
it
like,
is.
um,
Like, as you
and
get older and your family gets, I guess, it gets bigger on the other end. I have Melissa and Elias, and
if they
hopefully
have
more to come
kids
on
and
that side. But you're at a different teetering moment.
it is weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So I just want people to, like, understand again that it's normal, and it's, for me, it's something I didn't think about, and so I just want to share with everyone that it's something to think about. And um if I can help it, just start the conversation,
It's
that would
definitely
make me
something to
happy.
think about, and it's definitely something that you can have tools and people to help you with different,
There's so much out there.
out there that I would recommend to anybody. I mean, just to look into those things, because we are at the age like where we can still get life insurance at a reasonable cost, and we could still prepare so our kids are not, having to have us move in with them. And,
Yes,
personally, I'd like to be at some place with you playing cards, but,
we're gonna have that happen. I like the whole card thing too.
I'd love to be where you are.
We're
Like,
gonna have so much fun.
yeah, like,
No, absolutely. And I think that we'll have someone on, to talk about just give more like, educational information about resources and some options for people our age or a little bit younger, older.
Younger is even better. I
Young,
mean,
the
the younger
younger
you
the
are, the
better.
cheaper it is.
Yes, 100%.
And
And just bring some awareness maybe.
on that front,
Yeah.
I do. I think that would be good. I think that would be really good
So
because it is um, just something that creeps up on you, just like our kids graduating high school and leaving,
yeah,
and
like,
going to
oh,
college and,
and we're in our
and it's so
50s.
funny.
Yes.
Like, as I watch my pattern sort of follow yours, like Sarah's already talking about having to stay part of this most of the summer and not come home. And,
Right.
and I've just watched you sort of live all this. So now with my mom being a little weaker than usual and not herself like completely, like it's good to know that I have you to lean on. And I think
Of
it's just
course.
nice for people to know like this grief process is so giant and so overwhelming. And sometimes it's just nice to know that like you could relate and hear and commiserate.
Yeah. And it's hard. And I just think preparing yourself is the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
You're never even going to be fully prepared, but anything
Yeah.
versus nothing, I think is just super helpful.
Yeah.
I do.
Well, she's having her Crown Royal. We're having vodka soda, but I
I
think
know.
next time we have to have Crown
We
Royal.
do. A
Cheers
little
to your
cheers.
little cute grandma.
Yeah, that's just, I mean,
She's
the staff in this like rehab place, Margie, Margie, what, what can I get you? She would be like, I would love some Crown Royal, and
yes.
there, but yes, she just was so sweet down to the end, she really, really was. She just,
I love
always had a
her.
smile on her face.
I love her.
So great. So
And
great.
she's somewhere. We got another angel,
Oh,
so that's
yeah.
good. So I think a part of, for me, um, having, resolution, closure, whatever you want to call it, is really difficult when you have a narcissistic parent because, you know, you want what they can't give you. And
Yes.
it's just a mental, it
It's a
just is.
cycle. It's a cycle.
It just is. And I've learned after all my therapy and everything that like at some point you got to relinquish like the hope that you're ever going to extract something out of this.
Absolutely.
And that's a hard one to swallow, right? And then losing a narcissistic parent like you did. Um how do you grapple with that feeling of, the anger, maybe the resentment, maybe the
I just I'm just happy that I don't have to deal with it anymore.
yeah.
So it's not like a part of my life. And I honestly stopped it a long time ago. And like I said, I'm like, I feel like I've worked through a lot of that. Like, I don't feel bad or guilt, or I really don't even feel like resentment or like hostility or,
That's good.
all those things that I did feel for a really long time. I just took her, um, poison and made it into something so much better. I knew what she was. I'm not a poor me person, and I just knew what was happening was wrong. And I did the complete polar opposite with my family, and it turned out great.
Yeah, you did a
So
different, you just like decided
I didn't
you
let
didn't
that define me at all.
you didn't use that as like, oh, poor me,
My crutch. I wasn't like, oh, I'm this way because of
my childhood.
her. Yeah, or I'm this way because of that. I mean, I'm not.
Yeah. And
I
that's,
just
well, you're empathic, which is rare, being an empath is not like usual anymore.
yeah.
I mean,
So
it's just not, but
that's kind of how I didn't realize, like, until you started your journey, um that she was like a narcissistic parent. I didn't really know that. And but Obviously,
she
that
was.
all lines up now, and it makes a lot more sense, to be honest with you.
The weird thing is, these people are very predictable. That's the crazy thing. When you learn about it and you really learn about it, you like, no,
You
oh
know,
my God. They
you know
really,
what's coming.
they all are alike,
100%. And they
you
really
know?
are.
And it's like, you just have to know that this is what it is. And it is that whole radical acceptance of, I can't change this. And this is who they are. And they are only capable of what they're capable of.
Yes.
And
You're not going to fix it.
no,
You're not going to change it.
no, no.
And it's not okay for you to accept.
No. Dr. Romney would say, you know, you don't have to sever all these relationships, but you have to know what you're dealing with. And you have to recognize that you're never going to have any change.
Right.
And you're never going to have, you know, a different outcome. This is what it is.
It's all going to lead back to the same.
Always. Cycle, man. Rinse and repeat.
Rinse and repeat.
Rinse and repeat. Well, this was kind of a darker subject for us, but you know,
know,
it's
I
sad
know.
watching our parents get older and like knowing that doom is kind of coming.
I know, and I mean, I don't want to think about it.
Nobody does.
No, nobody does, which is why everyone puts it on the back burner.
But everybody's
You
gonna
know,
die.
and I also think that people just aren't educated, and I think that people don't know the available resources, or people think everything's so much to be, you know, to prepare, and
It's the opposite.
it really is.
Yeah, it is the opposite. Be prepared.
Be
and it's
prepared,
a
and it'll
lot
cost you
cheaper.
a lot. Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
I mean,
Hands down.
100% hands down.
Yeah.
So, I
Our next episode, we're gonna do a follow up
night.
on Jew night, Jew bar night. See if Jen met anybody.
No, it's not even who you meet. It's not even who you meet. It's like who we need to avoid. Now we have a list of Jews we have to avoid. It's
Totally.
becoming a problem.
Oh no.
Small town. This might be this might be our last Jew bar night.
For a while.
Well, I mean, because
Well, if I get followed, yes, it might be.
Yeah. You have your like
Unless I go
following.
incognito. I'm sad because I really enjoyed
You know,
it.
we should start one in Midway or something.
We'll do somewhere else. That's a good idea. That's a good
Oh,
idea.
God.
Well, thank you all
Thank
for
you
joining.
so much. So we're signing off.
And we're signing off. Thanks, everybody.
Have a great night.
Bye. Thank you for tuning in and listening to this week's episode of JK, It's Not About You.
You can write in and ask your questions on our show's Instagram page at JK, It's Not About You, and we will address your questions on the next week's episode.
If this episode helped you, we would love for you to share it with your friends and family.
Share the fun with all those that can benefit from a good laugh or cry with us.
Please rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and we would greatly appreciate you.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.